Carconi takes a shove. Good hustle there by Chatfield, Martinook, and the Canes can transition. It's a 2-on-1. Staal with Chatfield. Staal, Chatfield, he scores! Category 5, his 5th goal of the season. Jalen Chatfield puts Carolina up 1-0. Burns, no chance for Jarvis, he scores! It's a power play goal. The drop pass by Krause to nobody, and the Canes can clear it out.
What a play by Chatfield. Has he ever been all over this thing in all 3 zones?
Now Jarvis will take the puck into the Utah zone. Out in front for Aho, he scores! Point to the passer. Canada to Finland, and another shorthanded goal, and the Canes go up 4-2.
Hey, welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. See, that's what it feels like to win a hockey game. Hurricanes 7, Utah 3. Talk about all of it. And we're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out. All right. It feels better, right? Now we can have rational discussions about this hockey team. We don't have to be, and I admitted. I think you could all tell. Actually, got an interesting message from would you say Benny on a Twitter probably, that pointed out how frustrated and to a point angry I sounded on the last Canes Corner podcast. And I was not angry at the team. Team has played well. I mean, not great, but they played well. Could have won. Could have won in Minnesota. Could have won in Winnipeg. Could have beaten the Kings. Didn't. Not getting enough out of their chances. Not getting great goaltending. They didn't get great goaltending today. They scored 7 goals. Outscored their goaltending problems today. We're going to talk about it because it wasn't all bad from Pyotr Kochetkov. But I think it allows everybody to be more rational when the Hurricanes win this type of game. And again, I know it's going to sound weird. There wasn't a ton of difference between the way Carolina played today and the way they played in Minnesota. Quality of competition matters. And the way they played in Winnipeg. Quality of competition matters. And the way they played against the Kings. Just not a ton of difference. So today, the puck went in. I mean, I'm not in any way trying to apologize for this or that or cover for anybody. There just isn't that big a difference. I don't even remember the game now. Carolina led 2-0 after 1. And they really weren't that good, but they scored 2 goals. I think it might have been the game against Chicago. I don't know. I don't remember the game. But they led the game 2-0 and really didn't play all that well. And this is what happens with hockey. And maybe other sports too. I think it happens with soccer if you follow that sport. Like in any sport where it ain't easy to score, you can do a lot of things well and not get rewarded, and the other team gets one chance, it's in your net, and you get things like, oh man, the Hurricanes dominated the first period. I'm like, no, they didn't. They were kind of lucky. So now that the Hurricanes won this game, we can just rationally discuss the state of the team. All right, so let's get to a few things, and we're going to spend most of the time about today, but first, let me run through this real quick. Shouts, yes, Meredith, they clearly are better without Mikko Rantanen. I kid. It's Meredith's joke, but I appreciate it, and it's one that I think we all shared up here. Shouts to Saudi Arabia, Dusseldorf, Germany. That's our first Dusseldorf. It's not our first Saudi Arabia. I think it's our second. Hickory, North Carolina, checking in. Jack from D.C. Love it. Oklahoma City, not our first rodeo in Oklahoma City, if you will. Another D.C. checking in. Nashville, North Carolina. I mean, sure, absolutely. Bedford, Winchester, Virginia, Charlotte. We got a lot of Stamford, Connecticut, all about it. We got a lot of people chiming in and saying hello. Hello from Nassau in the Bahamas. Like, hold on one second. You got nothing better to do? No offense. I'm glad you're here. But you're in the Bahamas, man. And I mean, I hope that you're at least doing this mobile. Like you're not sitting in front of your laptop watching this. Like you just typed in hi from the Bahamas and now you're laying down somewhere late in the afternoon on a beach or on a cruise by a pool, maybe sipping a drink. I hope. I just hope. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Tampa, Florida. Everybody saying hi. All right, let's get to the game. Welcome to the Seth Jarvis Show. I said this last year. I will not be surprised in the least if 2 years from now we don't refer to Seth Jarvis as the team's best player. That's not about Aho. It's not about potentially, well, if Mikko Rantanen is still here. And I actually think that there's a better chance than not that he is. But if Rantanen is not here, and who knows, maybe even if he is, we might be looking at Seth Jarvis as the team's best player. There's a level, he's got more, right? Imagine Seth Jarvis with 2 healthy shoulders. Just saying. We know how he played 60 games last year in the regular season and the playoffs with a torn labrum and a rotator cuff injury. And we know he missed a bunch of time this year for an upper body injury. I don't know if it's the same injury or not. I really do not know. But he's not 100%. And he does things like he did today. He was awesome today. And we're going to go through the goals because I think that second period was an app. Hang that in the Seth Jarvis Museum in Winnipeg. I'm assuming at some point there'll be a Seth Jarvis Museum. So he has 2 goals and an assist in the second period. But he should have had a second assist, except because he creates the play. On the Aho goal that made it 3-1, it was Jarvis's deflection and kind of hit ahead that got the puck all the way down in front of Karol Vejmelka. And when Vejmelka came out to play the puck, he gave it to Aho. So when possession changed, Jarvis doesn't get an assist on the play, but he makes the play. All right. First goal of the game, the Staal to Chatfield play, started by Chatfield in his own end. He makes a good defensive play. He was elite today. He was Carolina's best defenseman today. And until Jarvis took the game over in the second period, Chatfield was their best player. He got my second star. And then he's up on the rush with Jordan Staal 2-on-1, and he buries the first goal of the game to make it 1-0 Carolina. Utah would equalize on the power play. We'll talk about that goal in a minute when we talk about Pyotr. And then in the second period, a power play goal, a power play goal, a power play goal. I think it was Jarvis's shot that was deflected high. And remember, after the ultimate goal was scored, Utah was considering challenging the play to see if it hit the netting. Now, I saw one of Utah's assistants, off-ice assistants, talking about how high the puck was over the glass. That doesn't mean it hit the net? I don't know. I thought I heard it hit the glass off the shot, but I don't know. I really don't. And I don't know if it hit the netting, but I didn't see a video that suggested that it did. Either way, Jarvis's shot, it gets recycled around. Svechnikov to Burns to Jarvis, left face-off circle, one-timer. Probably a goal that Vejmelka wants back, if you think about it. If you watched it, I'm like, it wasn't a blast. It wasn't just under the bar. It was just over the glove. And the glove wasn't all that high. Anyway, we'll all take it. We don't care. Hurricanes get a power play goal. Shock. And that made it 2-1. Not too long after that, as a matter of fact, I can tell you exactly how long it was between Jarvis and Aho's goals. 2 minutes and 10 seconds later, Jarvis makes the play on the goal we talked about earlier, gets it ahead. He's chasing it down. Vejmelka's got to come out. His clearing attempt goes right to Aho, who knocks it down, makes a great play. Could have passed it to Jackson Blake, too. I don't know. But he makes the play. Why risk it? You know you're going to have the goal. So that made it 3-1. It gave Carolina that 2-goal margin. And then Dmitry Orlov happened. We'll talk about him briefly. We're not going to spend a ton of time on Dmitry. Oh, boy. Anyway, now it's 3-2. And the Hurricanes all of a sudden are like, oh, man, we're just this close to being tied again. And they nearly were. This is where Kochetkov, after that goal, is where Kochetkov started to play well again. So it's 3-2, and then they have to kill off a penalty, right? You're killing off, is that it? Yes, you're killing off a penalty. And Chatfield makes the play in his own end. He interrupts, I forget who it was that he was marking. He gets the puck with his skate, kicks it over or deflects it over to, I believe, Jarvis, who got it up, who actually knocked the puck. Actually, might have been somebody else who gave him the puck. I want to get it right so I'm not losing my mind here. No, it was Chatfield who got the puck to Jarvis, who got the puck deep. So Jarvis got the puck deep, and then he goes right around Michael Kesselring. Not only went around, he kind of did a swim move over him, completely outmuscles Utah's defenseman on the blue line, gets into the corner, great hold-up play, to borrow from soccer, and he gets the pass out in front to Aho for a great backhand-forehand move, and it's 4-2. It's a great goal. And Aho knows, he said it after the game, completely created by Jarvis. And then late in the period with less than a minute to go, face-off just outside the blue line, Aho wins it. Blake gets it forward to Jarvis, who comes in a breakaway and goes forehand, backhand, up high. That made it 5-2. It was a Seth Jarvis period. All 4 goals, in some way, shape, or form, were either, to me, they were all Jarvis goals. All 4 of them were attributed to the key play made by him. That's called taking the game over. And I think certainly as disappointing as Andrei Svechnikov has been, that's how, and I think a lot of people are to the point where it may never happen for Andrei. I'm not there yet, okay? And I may never be there because I think there's too much ability. So we look at Andrei's 7.75 and go, man, that might never look like a good contract. And then we look at Jarvis's 7.45 or whatever that number totally is because of deferred money. And we go, oh, that's a bargain. Because I do ultimately think that if the Hurricanes can keep Jarvis in one piece, I think that contract's going to look like an absolute steal. Much like if you go back and you look at Brad Marchand's last contract or David Pasternak's last contract, you're going to go, oh my gosh, what highway robbery the Boston Bruins got away with. So Jarvis was just awesome. The shorthanded goal was, again, a creation of his. But you could tell that Jarvis, who had another shorthanded opportunity, Jarvis and Aho have great chemistry together. And just to kind of fold in Mikko Rantanen, even as people were whining, why is Jackson Blake on that line? Folks, game in and game out, Jackson Blake's one of their best players. I don't even know what we have to talk about. This podcast is not going to be about him, but if you watch the game, you notice it, unless you're in total denial. But when we're sitting there complaining about it, not that I was complaining, but I never thought, and I don't think, that we're going to get to the playoffs, and it's going to be anything other than Aho in the middle, Rantanen. I'd like to see Rantanen on the right. I think he's better on the right. And Jarvis can play either side. And Jarvis on the left. And look, we could also get to that point and see Andrei Svechnikov on that line. I wouldn't be completely shocked. But anyway, I think ultimately it will be Rantanen, Aho, and Jarvis. But for the 2 weeks or whatever it was, Jarvis is playing too well with Staal and Martinook. And I have no reason to break that line up. Really don't. Svechnikov was okay today. I know the broadcast liked his game. I thought there were some good moments and some not so good moments from Andrei. I thought the best moment was the little touch pass on the first goal. He makes the play to Jordan Staal very quickly to get the puck out. That's a great play. And Staal goes down with Chatfield. He gets the secondary assist in the power play goal, but all he did was cycle it back up top to Burns. So he didn't make a great pass. He just was the second to last person to touch the puck before Jarvis beat Vejmelka. So ultimately, I think we were always going to get to Aho, Jarvis, and Rantanen. And even before they acquired Rantanen, we knew that at the end of the year, before Rantanen was there, we knew it was going to be Aho, Jarvis, and somebody. And I'd always thought that it would ultimately be Svechnikov, because at the very least, if Andrei's playing his game right, he's a physical presence, throwing his body around, creating havoc, and that's what you need from a power forward. I've been begging him to just play like Erik Cole. Don't worry. The goals will come. Erik Cole never played a fancy game. Not a single game did Erik Cole play as a fancy player. But look at the production that he gave you. Erik Cole was not a super skilled player. No offense to Erik if you're watching. But Erik was all speed and power and creation of space for line mates. So that's really all I want from Andrei. Because if you're playing with top players and you use your speed and your strength to create havoc, goals are going to come. They just will. Just be that. All right, so Aho and Jarvis, I started calling earlier in this year, I started calling Jarvis Canadian Turbo, because I think Aho and Jarvis have that kind of chemistry, to the point where when Hannah Yates asked him about playing against Aho in the Four Nations tournament, we got this.
How would you describe the excitement level to end on a high note and enter this tournament?
Yeah, it's awesome, and I can't wait to run him from behind.
Thank you so much, Seth. Congratulations.
There you go.
Thank you.
I can't wait to run him from behind. Seth Jarvis is always appointment listening. Always. All right, without getting into too many details, Jalen Chatfield was elite tonight. Speed, play reads, his offensive upside. We saw all of that. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more offense from Jalen this year. But I think ultimately it's going to come for him. 2 more years left on his current contract. Next year, Tom. Next year. I know he's older. Next year, we got to get on a longer-term deal for Jalen. I think there's going to be another level for him as well. Boy, was he good today. And he had to be, because his partner wasn't. This is now 2 out of the LA game. Dmitry Orlov was bad. Directly responsible for 3 goals against the Kings. I thought he was better, but not great in Minnesota. He was better, but not great in Winnipeg. The second goal, the first Clayton Keller goal, you just had the puck taken from you at the blue line. And he had a couple of moments tonight where he was, let's finish one thought first. A couple of bad moments tonight where he was just either skated around or misplayed a puck, gave the puck away a couple of times. And it wasn't all bad for Orlov. But, man, that goal that made it 3-2, not only did he lose the puck at the blue line, but he was helpless after that. You know what you really should do, Dimitri, is just drag the guy down right away. Like, there's too much space. They're not going to award a penalty shot at the blue line. My gosh, that was bad. Anyway, it's been a rough go for him. I know there are people that are on that same boat with Brent Burns. It's not been nearly that bad. But again, like, I thought there were a couple of plays tonight where Burns did something good and bad in the same play to allow the first power play. Burns actually makes a great defensive play to knock the puck off of Carcone's stick. Carcone is a pretty good player. I know he was a -4 tonight, but I'm not sure. I know Keller scored 2 goals. I'm not sure that Carcone wasn't Utah's best player. But Carcone's coming in, and Burns knocks the puck off his stick, knocks it to the corner, makes a great defensive play, and then trips Carcone like 2 seconds later. So he goes to the penalty box. So not good. And I keep wanting to call them the Jazz. The club scored on that power play. That made it 1-1. And by the way, on that power play goal, that is a terrible goal for Pyotr Kochetkov to allow. Awful goal. That is just never a shot that should beat an NHL goalie. Nope. Sorry. And is what it is. Carolina got away with it tonight. Normally, when you get to the playoffs, you're not going to score 7. You're not playing Utah. You're not going to score 7. Those goals can't go in. We move on. And there were a couple of other situations in the game. Third period, I think it was third period. It's still 5-2. And Utah's coming in. He's actually on the wrong side of the puck, but makes a good defensive play to knock the puck off a stick, and then gathers the puck and then gives it away in the slot. So good and bad at the same time. We can't have the bad because, again, against good teams, those plays end up behind your goalie, especially if he's playing like Pyotr Kochetkov was in the first 30 or so minutes. All right, now, as I fold this into Kochetkov, after those 30 minutes, he was a much better goalie. After giving up the Clayton Keller goal, really, or we could call it the Dmitry Orlov goal, midway through the second, I thought Kochetkov was really good. He was really good at the end of the second period. He had to make probably 3 or 4 really good saves on a couple of flurries, and that kept the game. Remember, at that point, Carolina was leading probably, I think it was 4-2 at that point. You don't want to give up another one and make it a 4-3 game. I think I heard Tripp on the broadcast say you want to keep it no worse than 4-2. And he did. And then Carolina got the goal right before the end of the period to make it 5-2. Excuse me. Having a little bit of a frog in the throat. Hold on. Oh, that's much better. It's not really, but it's a little bit better. So it looked to me like Kochetkov had kind of regained his composure. And this is with nearly fighting Vejmelka, the other goalie. I've never understood goalie fights. It is what it is, but I've never understood how could 2 goalies make each other mad to the point of fighting. Dumb. Anyway, so Kochetkov was skating out, and Vejmelka was like, I'm not doing anything down here. And then in the third period, of course, he went on walkabout. Maybe with a 3-goal lead, you don't go and play the puck in the corner, right? Maybe you don't, because you give it away, and Dylan Guenther just one-timed it, and Kochetkov has to make a great save. But we don't want you to make those great saves because you gave the puck away. On top of the fact that if you go back and you watch that play again, you go, man, he could have really hurt himself. He came in with force, skate on the far post. I mean, he's borderline lucky he didn't injure himself. And he's not quite like Auntie Raanta made out of paper mache, or Freddie Anderson. But Pyotr will get injured. So that ain't, we don't want to see that. I want to mention one more thing, and then maybe we'll just have some closing thoughts as we head into the Four Nations tournament break. I know Tripp was excited by Brent Burns standing up for Jackson Blake, who took a shoulder, I don't think it was an elbow, I think it was shoulder maybe, bicep to the face from Alexander Kerfoot. And Burns immediately went, grabbed Kerfoot, and was sort of like yanking at him. And I think he took his glove off. I don't know. I don't remember if he took his glove off or not. But he was ready to do something, but he didn't do anything. He just ended up getting a roughing call. And there was, I thought, rightfully so, no penalty to Kerfoot. I didn't think the hit was illegal. So Blake had his head down. He was a little lower. I don't think there was any intent on Kerfoot. Point of contact definitely did look like the face, by the way, and Blake was fine. Blake didn't miss a shift. The only thing I would say is if Burns, if you're going to go to that level, if you are going to go to the level of, you're taking a penalty, you might as well get more out of it. Right? You might as well drop your gloves and throw hands with Kerfoot. Again, I'm not an advocate of fighting in any way, shape, or form. But to me, that is, and it is a good reaction from Burns. I am not denying that. Take the next step. Take the next step. So that's all. I don't know. Maybe that's barbaric too. I'm not a fan of fighting at all. But it seemed like don't do that again, mister, to me. It's just the way I look. I don't know. But again, I think it's the immediate reaction, Burns' instinct to come to Jackson Blake's defense, I thought was really good. All right. Now, quickly as we wrap up, perspective, okay? The Hurricanes are now, let me get it, 33-19-4. They are plus 14 in the NHL. I think that's the second best plus in the Eastern Conference. They're second in the division, 2 points ahead of New Jersey with a game in hand. All of this is good. They haven't come close to playing their game yet, not for a consistent basis. They did go have a 7-game point streak not that long ago, but they really haven't gotten to it, and they certainly haven't gotten to their total game with Mikko Rantanen here. We all want this team to look like it can win a Stanley Cup. It has been 6 games. Rantanen didn't even play today. 5 games with Mikko. I think people are underestimating the adjustment for him. Not to mention the adjustment for Carolina to play with a player like him. But for him to play the way Colorado plays, which is boom, shot out of a cannon, it's a little bit different to play, a lot different to play here. So there's going to be an adjustment for him, on top of the fact that I think there's a lot of people putting a lot of pressure on themselves. Aho, Blake, Jarvis, Rantanen, everybody on the power play, to, because of Mikko Rantanen's presence, jack up the offense. It's not going to happen right away. I use this example. When Carolina signed Evgeny Kuznetsov, when they got him from Washington last year, there was immediate offensive impact from Kuznetsov. Immediate. That went away. It went away. Man, I remember seeing that going, man, Kuznetsov, Necas, and Svechnikov, it's like it was made in a lab. Like, that's a line that we should always see. And they played together for like 3 games, and then you went, they're no good together. So the initial impact was great, and then it faded away. And And ultimately, Jack Drury went back on that line, right? And as did Jesperi Kotkaniemi when he came out of the press box because he was healthy extra a bunch. But Rantanen will figure it out. He'll cash in on some of his chances that he wasn't cashing in on. At some level, it's simply up to him to score, right? Just like we say the same thing about Svechnikov or Aho or Jarvis or Blake or whomever. It's kind of about, Mikko. That was a great scoring chance. Score it. We say the same thing about the other players. So I think it's more circumstance than anything. And I think you have to just allow for everybody to just kind of figure it out. And the last thing I'll say is that I don't believe that this trade was made. I've said this before. It was not made for this season. This was a deal that was made for the future. And that is, in the macro, Rantanen 8 more years in Carolina. But in the micro, figuring it out, and then when you get to the playoffs, you got a guy who is bona fide in the postseason. So it ain't about Mikko scoring a bunch of goals now. It's about Mikko scoring a bunch of goals, creating a bunch of offense in late April, into May, and maybe into June. In order for that to happen, though, Canes are going to have to get better goaltending. Got away with it today. Kochetkov was better, but the score also ballooned. Going to have to get better goaltending from both of them. Hasn't been good. Has not been good. Since the game in New York against the Rangers, where Freddie was great, we've had now 4 goals, 4 games since then. No bueno. No. We've had 4 mediocre games at best out of the 2 goaltenders. All right, we're done. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Han and his crew do a great job. You should check them out online at aluminumcompany.com. Hurricanes scored a power play goal tonight? They did. Yeah. Enjoy your 2-week break. Stay tuned to me on Twitter or Blue Sky, at AGoldFan on Twitter, at Adam Gold on Blue Sky. And maybe we'll have we'll do little get-togethers. Hey, if you subscribe on YouTube, we always do it live on YouTube. If you subscribe on YouTube, you'll know right away. YouTube.com/Canes Corner. And we'll be here. Good luck in the 4 Nations tournament to whomever you're rooting for. Not going to lie. Rooting for Finland. Not going to lie. We got two Hurricanes on Finland. I've always had a soft spot, but I really just want the guys to play well, have a good time, and come back healthy. Until next time. 2 weeks is our next Hurricanes game. We'll get together between now and then. I'm Adam. Thank you very much for spending the time with us wherever you are. Good night.